Welcome to the Live Courageously podcast show. I'm your host, John Duffy, and this is episode 64 since I started the show about 2 years ago. Live Courageously has been the conscious theme of my life for the last 3 years since the beginning of the pandemic, and an unconscious theme for most of my life. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not the absence of fear. And there's something contagious about someone who is courageous. So today's show is with my courageous guest, Tommy Anderson. And Tommy's an independent filmmaker and multiple best-selling author and screenwriter. Tommy also enjoys his role as a motivational speaker and hosted a Real Tommy Unleashed podcast on the IQ Podcast Network in San Diego, and it has streamed on over 10 stations. He's an accomplished screenwriter and has also written and also producer on his award-winning short film, Life After Oblivion, based on his award-winning adapted screenplay. Tommy's first feature film screenplay, PTSD, A Soldier's Revenge, is currently in production by Panther Trail Films. He's also received his first directing credit on the pilot series, The Tale of Richard Pick. Since then, Tommy has directed and produced several award-winning short films. In addition, he is also routinely cast as an actor in commercials, television, and film. He's also a founding member of Vet Picks Film Productions in San Diego, and this is an all-veteran independent film production company which produced Life After Oblivion. Most recently, Tommy was seen as the face on the national Spotify commercial as the man with the dancing dog. That's the story there I want to hear. His best-selling novel, Haboob Wind, is now a screenplay and recently won Best International Screenwriter by 8.5 Film Awards. And his new novel, 2 Million Steps, was released in March of 2021 and went on to bestseller on Amazon in 2 weeks. He's recently adopted this to a feature screenplay. In addition, Tommy has also written another feature screenplay called The Flight of the Deborah K. Before moving to Los Angeles, Tommy lived in Madison, Wisconsin, and had a full-time career as a firefighter medic with the Madison Fire Department. He's also served in the U.S. Army and later retired from the U.S. Air Force Air National Guard. He's a member of various organizations, including the Hollywood American Legion Post 43, Veterans in Media and Entertainment, the U.S. Press Association, and has served as a photojournalist for ABC 7 LA News, along with being a member of the California American Legion Press Association. Whoa, that's a lot of stuff there. Greetings, Tommy. Welcome to Live Courageously.
Wow, John, I was looking around trying to think, wow, where is this guy?
Well, you have lived and I only covered some of it. There's more. We're going to get into more. But you obviously have squeezed a lot of stuff into your lifetime. That's for sure.
Well, I always wanted to do different things and never look back and say, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I would have tried that. And there's a few things that I've tried and I didn't either like or I failed at, but at least I tried it, and one was to whitewater raft down the Colorado River. I did it about 25 years ago and probably never do it again, but I did it. It was like, I got to try it, and
well, I'm with you there. It's like a few years ago, I went skydiving for the first time. I probably won't do it again. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But, some things you do once and you're like, okay, done it. Don't necessarily need to do it again. So I hear you.
Check it off.
Let me start out with asking you two quick questions I like to ask everybody. And one is, where did we meet? Because, that's my first question. I always like to kind of position the story as to how we came across each other. And then I'll ask you my second question.
We met at the Hollywood American Legion, where I was a member, and you remember the Sons. And I forget what event it was at, but we were introduced from another filmmaker had introduced us there, and geez, I don't know how many years ago that was now, but it's been a great friendship ever since.
Yeah, I remember us meeting there. Like you said, that wasn't at an event, and of course, we've gone on to attend so many other events together and go on so many journeys. This is just two pictures of us, one at the Legion and one in Arizona, where we went to a screening together.
Right.
So we've kind of have attended a lot together. The second question I like to ask, and especially someone like you, because you have so much to respond to, what does living courageously mean to you?
To me, it's not necessarily living free of fear, but how to manage it. And I learned that a long time ago as a firefighter, is that you have to be able to function, do your job, but compartmentalize your fear and put it somewhere. Otherwise, you're not going to do your job, and I found that to be the stepping stone for everything I've done. And learning. It's what you do. It's just how you function. And once you learn that, nothing's impossible, I don't think.
Well, tell us a little bit. Let's go on that journey that took you
Okay.
from where you were born to the military, to two different branches of the military, to a firefighter and medic. Take us on that story. Take us on that journey. How did that all start for you?
Well, my dad was a World War II vet, and a lot of our family members were. And I had my grandfather died from wounds in World War I, and I had some great uncles who were in that. I had cousins that were in World War II, second cousins. So I was exposed around the American Legion at a young age, and they never glorified the military, but I always thought there was something special about it, and that by serving, you would give back to this country. And I also, in high school, I felt like I was such a nerd in high school. Like I had two left feet, and I'm sure it's all was in my head. But I thought, if I go in the military, it'll straighten me out. It'll put me on the right track. It'll teach me skills that I'll need to survive. And that's what I did. And I graduated high school. I was 17, and I told my mom I wanted to go in the service, and she didn't want me to. And my dad was always kind of on my side. He said, "Well, let him do it," you know. and so she signed my papers so I could go into the Army. And because I was only maybe 3 weeks away from my 18th birthday, so it's like, if you don't do it now, I'm going to just wait a couple of weeks and then do it anyhow. So
Where did
that's
you
how
live at the time? Where were you living?
I was living in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, which is a suburb of Madison. That's where I
Okay.
went to high school. And a shout out to my Cardinal classmates. A few of them are probably watching. but but I just wanted to go do something. I wanted to. I knew I wanted to have a career in public safety. At the time, it was law enforcement, and I also figured the military would toughen me up and make me prepare myself for that. But I'll tell you, about 2 weeks into basic training, I kept going, "This is the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life." But before you know it, I was through, and I was in the best shape in my life. I had such great self-confidence, and that's just kind of, I haven't really looked back since then.
And so so to tell us so when you went from one branch to another branch, how did that develop?
When I got back, when I had gone in the service, at that time the draft was still going, and they had an option where you could enlist for 2 years, just like a draftee would go in for 2 years, and then you would have 2 years reserve and 2 years in active reserve, for a total of 6-year commitment. And so when I got back off active duty, I went into the Guard. I went and looked at a couple places. I looked at the Army Reserve. I looked at the Army Guard, and I went back into the Army National Guard. Got into a helicopter unit, and I loved aviation, so they offered me an opportunity to go to crew chief school. So I went back on active duty. I went through crew chief school at Fort Rucker Alabama, and then I came back to my unit as a crew chief. Got my wings and came back and worked as a crew chief. And I did that up for probably 12 years, and they changed the mission. And what they did is they went from we went from Hueys, and then I went into what were these Kiowa Scouts, which was a blast. And then they went to Cobras. Well, when they went to Cobras, we lost pretty much all of our crew chief slots. You couldn't fly anymore, and I wanted to fly, and so I had put in for flight school, and I was given an opportunity to go to either the warrant officer program or you can go to OCS, and I chose to go to OCS. So I went to officer candidate school. I got about halfway through and I broke my hand in changing a tire on a Jeep, which is, it just happens, you know. And so they released me from OCS, and what they called it was a without prejudice. And when my hand was healed and I got it cleared, I could come back and enter my OCS class where I was at. And you know, okay, I was really bummed by it. I was really, you know, bummed out that, you know, I got to this point and now I'm not gonna go on to get into flight school like I thought I was. And then an opportunity came up with the Air Guard in Madison, their firefighting unit. And they got a hold of, I talked to several people there, and I could transfer into there, and the potential of going up to E9 would be what was possible. And I thought, okay, do I want to wait and go back and go to OCS? And I weighed the pros and cons. I thought, no, I'm going to go into the Air Guard. So I went over there. It was a great career. A lot of the men and women that were in the reserve, in the Air Guard, were also on the Madison Fire Department. And so, you know, it was just natural. I'm with the people that I work with, and I'm doing this in the reserve too. And so it was great. And I went up to got to a deputy fire chief there, and then I finally I retired after 23 years, you know, doing that, and it was a great career, and I got to do so much as being an Air Force fire chief that I just couldn't have done anywhere else, and got to travel, got to do things. I got to work with on President Reagan's presidential team in Hawaii. You know, it was really cool. It was just an amazing experience.
Well, one of the things that when I met you and I heard a little bit of your story, I was just always amazed by the adventures that you've gone on and continue to go on, and just that kind of energy and passion for life that you have, right? And so, like,
Right.
here you go, you finish the military, you finish your firefighting career, you retire, and then you just don't do anything, right? No, you you go on to do the next phase. So you moved to LA. When did you do that? Why did you do that? And
Well,
tell us that next step in your journey.
I did that. One of the people that had worked for City Human Resources had said, you know, I could see you being a writer or doing something someday. I just can't see you sitting still. And no, I've never been one to sit still. And I actually was at an event probably 20 years ago, and I met a woman from here, not my wife, another woman, and she said, "Well, why don't you sell your house and move here?" You know, and we made all these kind of plans to get married and everything. And I always say, what does a guy do things for? Usually, it's a woman involved. So I moved here, and shortly after I moved here, things kind of fell apart. And to me, that was life. You know, it's just, I mean, I wasn't happy about it, but it's like, just keep on moving. And probably about 3 weeks after that, I ran into Lydia, and we've been together ever since. So
And
it's
Lydia is your wife today.
my wife today. Yes.
Yes, and or as you say, you're here. You go a picture of you with her just recently at the Grammy Music Awards. Your better half, right there.
Yes. Yes. My better half. Absolutely. And no, it's if I wouldn't have taken that leap, and if I wouldn't have had that other involvement, I would not have been here. I would not have the career I have now. I would not have had my wife. And that's why you always move forward, because you never know what's going to happen. And I've always said that when one door closes, God opens another one. You just have to have the courage to walk through it. And I know it.
This, I mean, that's just something for people to really take to heart, because you're right. You know, when it's when you're willing to take that risk, when you're willing to step outside your comfort zone like you did, you don't know what's on the other side. You don't know how it's going to turn out. But if you're willing to do it and you keep going, it turns out, you know, it can turn out pretty good. And it did for you. It opened up another door. It opened up a door to marriage. It opened up a door to so much more, which we're going to talk about. But it all
Right.
started with that decision to take a chance, to take that
Yeah.
step.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I do talk to people about stuff, and you know, I'm probably not the best motivational speaker in the world, but I try to speak from experience and from heart, and tell them that nothing is as bleak as it seems. Tomorrow is always a brighter day. You just have to be ready to grasp that ring, and you never you just don't know. I mean, you just go to I go to these events, and you never know who you're going to meet, but you always go there and you be yourself, and you cultivate relationships with other people in this crazy business, and and it all benefits you, and you don't you're not a user. You're not one of these people that uses other people to get ahead. You're there to of course promote yourself, but also I like helping my friends if they have something going on, because I always look at it as, if they win an award or something, I feel like I have.
Well, it's like, you know, you said, I think one of the great things about both of us, what we experience in this, what we do, is that we get to go to all these things. We meet people, we make new relationships, new friendships, new family, as I call it. And, you know,
Right.
and it's about how you can help others, not only what they can do for you. And that just gives us so many opportunities in life. And we're blessed because of that. So, you know, that's the kind of way to, I think, and you do it all the time, because you don't stop. You're everywhere. I mean, you know, you're just, and that's a good thing. That's really a good thing.
I do get tired, and for those people out there that always say you're always doing something, well, no, I do take some downtime. There's just every now and then we have to hit. And this was one of the weekends. I had something Thursday night, I had something Friday night, and then something this morning, and now I'm not going to do anything until after the show, until next week. It's like you just stand down. We have to recoup ourselves, because
Well,
you know,
we're gonna get a little bit into that and some of the challenge stuff you've been through, and the model of that. But I have to say, knowing you, you know, I know you have to step down, and you do. But the amount of time you step down is so little compared to the amount of time you don't. I'm just saying, you know, from watching you, I'm like, yeah, this guy is definitely always on the go in a great way, man. So, you know, you're a model in that way for other people, I think.
well, I always want to like to be an example of what people can do if they just put one foot in front of the other, and nothing's impossible. You know, maybe you won't get to that point where you're doing some really cool stuff. I mean, we've been blessed, but you've made an accomplishment. You've gotten somewhere, you know, and you've done something. I've always felt that accomplishment.
Well, tell us a little bit about that accomplishment, because you know some of it, Tommy, is like you said, you came here and they told you back there that you know you should write, and you did write. And here I'm just going to throw up a picture of just two books, 2 Million Steps, and I'm thinking I'm pronouncing it right, Haboob Wind. Those are just two books that you wrote. So tell us about the writer's journey, your journey as a writer, and then we'll get into all the other journeys that you went on to besides that.
Well, about 12 years ago, 13 years ago, when I started doing some work for ABC News, I would do photography, and I would go out. I use my connections to get in and get pictures at different events that ABC couldn't be at, and and I would give them those pictures, and so they gave me opportunities to do other things. I got to do that. I got into writing articles for the American Legion Press Association, and then I wrote a couple other freelance articles for some other magazines. And out of that, one of I don't know if you know John Durkin from the Legion here in California. He lives over by Huntington Beach or whatever. He told me that you should get into this veterans writing group out of San Diego. It was run by Us for Warriors. And so I thought, okay, I'm interested in doing that. I've got some ideas bouncing around in my head for a book, but one of the big challenges you have, and this being an author yourself, is that where do I start? How do I format it? And that sort of thing. So I started taking these classes, and it was a big benefit that I was able to meet some other authors. Some were just starting out. Some were well-established authors, New York Times best-selling authors that were veterans that were part of this. And they were all willing to help you and teach you and show you tricks of the trade. And so I went from that. I developed the story, first one of Haboob Wind, and I crafted it, got it better. And then through that, being involved with that, I got into the Southern California Writers Association, which is an amazing association out of San Juan Capistrano. And they, in turn, I was connected with the book marketing company out of San Diego, which is Monkey See, and they're really fantastic. They designed my book covers. They helped me set me up with editors, content editor, and then the proof editor, and then I worked with Finish the Book Publishing out of I want to not La Jolla, but anyhow, Susie from there, she's the one that got me on the bestseller. She was an amazing go-getting book person who pushes stuff and could get your placement. And then I worked with Susan Faris, who was my publicist. She's was an Army major, a nurse, and a member of EME and Post 43 also. She got me into so many amazing things. And then I was really on the go. I was going to book signings. I was going to news interviews. I was doing all kinds of stuff. And then after that, I learned so much about the business that I wanted to do my second book. But I had so much information because I've been researching it for almost 20 years. And I had just piles and piles of facts and information. And it's like, how am I going to do all this? Well, when we got shut down for COVID, I'm sitting here going like, well, now is the perfect time to finish this book. And so I took advantage of that time that we couldn't do anything and finally finished that and got it out there. And since then, I've worked on two other books. One, we were in the Emmy-winning. I was a photographer and tech advisor on Take Me Home Huey, which we got an Emmy for. And I also did the okay, right.
I'm here. Don't worry.
Okay. And then they came out with a hardcover book, which is a picture book, and a lot of my pictures were in that. So I got credit for for being on with that book, and then I co-wrote with 20 other veterans a veteran story through Millvets, and so we had I was given a lot of opportunities to be involved with other books, and then it just morphed into all of a sudden screenwriting, which if it wasn't for VME, I probably wouldn't have learned how to screenwrite because it's so involved. It takes such a skill set, and sometimes authors of books can't make that transition because you're going from being a descriptive story to a just basically dialogue driven story in your screenplay. But Karen Kraft, who heads Veterans of Media and Entertainment, and Kimberly Shielhammer, she is like a top screenwriter. Both of them have worked major productions and films, and I took their classes. I learned from them. And when Haboob Wind was originally optioned by Global Edge Pictures, we needed to have a screenplay, and going around looking, trying to figure it out. And finally, our joint friend Peter, who's been a longtime filmmaker, had said, "You're an author. Who's better to put your story into screenplay but you?" So he was also very instrumental in that. And I ended up getting to the point where I like writing screenplays. I can sit down and I can write a screenplay for a short, maybe in 2 days, because I know the format, I know how it goes, I know, you learn, you just get good at it, and
So
that's
you,
what I'm doing.
you did a lot of, obviously, you went on that journey, the writer's journey as a writing books, then pivoting and learning how to write screenplays and working with VME on that. But in the same time you're doing that, you also, did acting and continue to do acting, and that's something else that you do. And I want to throw up your little actors reel for a minute so
Oh,
that
okay,
everybody
sure.
can watch that, if you don't mind, and then
No,
we'll
go
come
right
back
ahead.
and we'll talk about your actor's journey besides your writer's journey. So let me just
Okay.
throw that up right now for everybody to see.
You gents ever hear of the chosen few? Those of us brave enough to weather the storm and look them straight in the eye and show them what real men were? It was November 1950. I forgot to pack an extra pair of socks. I was wearing the same damn skivvy since basic. We were on the east side of the reservoir, just trying to survive. I always thought the breeze off Lakeshore Drive was cold. Shit. This was so much colder.
Kane? Kane? Kane. It's you, boy. Come here, sweetie. I thought you went over the Rainbow Bridge. You're such a good boy. You came back. You came back to Daddy.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you? How do you like the property?
Oh, I love it.
Now tell me about your business.
Well, I'm a personal trainer. I was the top trainer at Solstice, but I need my own space so I can give my clients more personal attention.
Oh, Mr. Popular.
Popular amongst the ladies.
Well, I'll give you the best deal in Beverly Hills. For just a 5-year commitment.
5 years?
To see the sky light up. It's going to be so pretty.
Most weed isn't like that, youngling. That's my special surprise.
Your buddy just he's insulting me. He's insulting me right now.
Yeah, my.
Yeah. You're all fucking. I want to welcome you to North Carolina. My new little lady. Enjoy your stay. Yeah.
We have to move beyond our fears. We have to move beyond our questions. For today, the Holy Spirit is here with us. I've had friends of mine, veterans, who have died from gun suicide. Hey, this is Tommy Anderson, and this is my Norco.
I feel so close to you right now. It's a force field.
I love the way that ended. I hadn't had a chance to watch that, but perfect. Perfect ending, man. So wow, that and the dancing with the dog. I love that. And we're going to talk about dogs later too. But
Sure.
because you're a massive lover of dogs, including big dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but so Tommy, so besides the writing, and then you started acting. Tell us about the acting and how what do you like about doing the acting? And then I'll ask you which one you like most, if you even like one most.
I the thing I like about acting is getting out of my comfort zone and doing something totally not me. You know, whether you're playing a homeless person or you're playing a bum or whatever, you know, or a jerk. You know, I just find it so exciting to be able to develop that skill. I used to remember back years ago thinking back, I wonder how these actors do this, you know, and now to be part of it, it's I don't know, it's exhilarating. And it's a form of artwork. You know, you're creating something. You're creating a persona. Your acting can carry on the story. You know, make it interesting. You know, it's really a joy. I really enjoy it.
Now, could you say that there's one that you enjoy more than the other? Do you enjoy writing more than acting, or acting more than writing, and why?
I like both of them. I originally, when I got offered into acting, and this is the one thing that didn't really come through via me, or that I was my first gig was a music video down in San Diego, and that just kind of happened because somebody didn't show up, and a friend of mine who was the producer said, "Are you doing anything this weekend?" And so I went and I did it, and I was just really getting into makeup and costume and all this stuff, and watching what goes on set. You know, from being a writer, I like to know how the actors are going to interpret your writing, or how the your DP, your director are going to interpret your story. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll do this because I'm going to learn and it'll make me a better writer. And then after that, I got an agent and they wanted to sign me. And it was like, wow, really? And this was, oh God, 6 years ago, 7 years ago now. And I did get one job through VME on SEAL Team, which they came out with, our casting came out and they put out a thing and I put in for it and I got it. And, several of us at VME were able to get into that. And it just kept on going. And my agent is amazing, is getting me, auditions all the time. The hardest one were the self tapes. I mean, we all struggled with that because we're not used to it. I was in, like I say, at the time when we auditioned for the casting director and maybe a couple producers there. So you could adjust yourself. They would tell you, do this or do that, look over this way and then deliver that. And that's what I do with the Spotify. And I just knew I had landed it because I related to them. And we were talking about dogs. I said, "Do you mind big dogs?" I said, "Me? Big dogs? No." I have a mastiff.
I'm going to put up that picture since we got to go to it now. This is some of the pictures of you with the dogs and America's favorite pet. Yes, you are an amazing dog lover.
I am, and I got to do some stuff with some dog rescues around here because of my quasi celebrityness, I guess, is kind of weird, but I'll go out and help them, and if I can help promote and save a dog, I'm going to go out and do it. And I got to do some stuff with horses and things like that. I'm a very much an animal person, and I'm more than happy to take that time. And Lydia always says, "Don't bring anything home with you." She knows I have a track record. But
that's cool. Well, the other thing that you are, when I'm just going to throw up real quick, this is just, something you had posted, just some of the projects that you did in 2023. Obviously, a whole series of different 10 movies listed right there that you had different experiences in.
I don't actually, and this is through the Panther Trails. I was only involved with 2 of those.
Okay.
One is the PTSD, and the other is American Trash, which had a small role in that, but I was very thankful that to be cast in that. PTSD right now is in post, so hopefully in the near future it's going to be coming out. So,
well, we look forward to seeing that. The other thing that you do, and you mentioned obviously working with VME, and we met here at Hollywood Post 43, which is a great American Legion post for anybody who is not familiar with it. But you also do stuff with a lot of other veterans, and just throw up some friends who do stuff for the veteran community. And this is just some pictures with a good friend of mine, Kevin Major Howard, and Joe Mantegna, and just great people doing stuff in the industry for veterans and doing veteran support stuff. Yeah. They're both amazing individuals, just amazing. I've got to do a few things with Major, probably 3 or 4 things. And he's a super nice guy, amazing photographer. Yes, he's definitely an incredible headshot photographer, and he's done he has a whole line of cards that he did after 9/11, to celebrate the military and veterans and first responders, and just to honor all of them. And he's, he takes them on tour all around the country and does whatever he can to support them. So yeah, I mean, it's a great group of people. That's kind of the people that we're kind of lucky and honored to be able to kind of like work with and be involved with.
Well, that you mentioned that, and that's one of the things that our little COVID experience put us through. Is right before all that happened, he had asked me, he says, "Do you want to drive one of the cars?" And I'm going, "Oh yeah, I do." but then the world came to a stop, and so we had I haven't seen him probably since then, since it was right before COVID.
Yeah,
But it was good to see him
I've
on your
seen him
show.
since. I've seen him since. He's doing all right. Once again, he always shows up at different events, Memorial Day and 9/11 up at Pepperdine. He used to bring his cards to Pepperdine for 9/11 memorial. And but he's doing all right.
Is he still living in Las Vegas?
Yeah, he is, and he's trying to do a show, documentary based on the Vietnam veteran movie that he was in, and I'm blanking on the name of it. You probably remember the name of it, but
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket, exactly. So we did a podcast show. Yeah, we did exactly right. We did a podcast show with him, and he spoke about that and his experience, and wanting to do a documentary about it. So we'll see how that comes out. But yeah, great guy. So besides all that, Tommy, so you got, the military, the fire, the writer, the producer, and then a podcaster. So that's the next piece of it. So you've done your own podcast show, the Real Tommy Unleashed show on IQ podcast down in San Diego, and you've done a series of that. Tell us a little bit about that. What was that, and why did you branch into doing podcasting? And tell us a little bit about the shows.
Well, you kind of morph into things as situational things come up. When COVID shut us down and we weren't doing films, San Diego was still relatively open in certain areas. And a good friend of mine, Brett Davis, who has a radio show down there on The Answer, had asked me if I would come in and co-host one of his shows with him. And so I did, it's like, okay, I've never co-hosted a radio show. I'm going to go do this. and I don't turn an opportunity down because it sounds, I have never done this. Okay, I want to try this. So we got on there and had a blast doing it. It was a great experience. I got to meet some wonderful celebrities in the radio world in San Diego, which and we're still friends to this day. And so after that, he told me, well, we're starting a podcast network, and we want to do different format shows on there and we'd like to have you on there, have your own show. So initially I started it with a very good friend of mine, Tina Hargett. We did a show in which all right, now I got a little glitch up here. I can't remember the name of the show, which is hard to believe. Somebody's going to pop up here and tell me, I know.
You have a lot of friends commenting, I must say. So
I know. I'm watching them roll through. It's kind of cool. Hi guys, I love you all. But so we the Take It Back show, and the whole thing about the Take It Back show was to, like yours, it was to talk to people about you can overcome any adversity with the power of positive thinking, faith, and it didn't have to be, like religious faith, but faith in yourself, faith in your family, faith in this country, whatever. And so we started doing the show, and we got some great people on as guests. One of the Janet, I can't think of her last name right now, was I think our first guest. She's a pinup model, very pretty, but she's a paraplegic.
Wow.
And from a drunk driving accident. And she, her husband gets her all dressed up, gets her posed, and the camera, they take all the pictures. She's just fantastic. Well, she does that. She always said, I want my kids to know that I'm not a quitter and I'm going to keep on doing stuff. And that was the type of people we want to get out and talk about. And so that went for probably about a year, when the station decided they wanted to do a change and kick it up a notch. And they said, we want you to do your own show. And so I kind of said, well, you mean sort of like being Unleashed? And they go, yeah. and that's the name of your show. It's going to be The Real Tommy Unleashed. And it wasn't to be crazy or anything, but what I did it is that I called it The Stories Behind the Story. I would bring in like big screenwriters and talk to them about their work behind this movie. Or I'd bring in a platinum country singer and say, you know, tell us about, you know, the business and what you're doing. Because there were so many people, I found this out, you know, working in the film industry, is so many people want to know how these things are made. Because we do all kinds of stuff on set that the public never sees. And you know, we can watch a film or a TV show and know kind of what's going on in the background. And it's like when you have a really slender girl in a dress, and you know there's all kinds of clips going down the back of it, so it makes it tightened up, things like that, you know, and people don't realize that. And so I like to talk about what goes on behind the scenes, you know, or goofing around, you know, things like that. Nothing bad. And so the Unleashed kind of sounds like I'm going to be really crazy, but I'm not. I'm just.
People should check it out. Check out and I put up your thing, TommyAnderson.com, TommyAnderson.com to get more information. I'm just going to take a minute, Tommy, if you don't mind. I want to play a 1-minute clip for. It's not a sponsor, but it's someone I'm supporting, an organization.
Oh no, absolutely.
I want to, give a call out to them because they're doing amazing work, and it's coming up this next weekend. They're doing some human trafficking rescue stuff for the Super Bowl. So I want to give a shout out to them, and then we'll come back in 1 minute. So let me just play that real quick.
Okay, sounds good.
Hi, this is Pastor Rudy from CERT Ministries and the Slave Free Project. And we have a large operation coming up during the Super Bowl. It's going to cost us between $35,000 to $40,000 to be able to pull this off. We have 30 operators that are coming into town, and it's an amazing opportunity for you to get involved in fighting trafficking. The way you can do that is donate. It costs around $1,000 per operator for us to pull this off. But in comparison to anything and everything else that's going on in the world, or how much it would cost the local law enforcement agency to do this type of operation, it's a drop in the bucket. So here's your opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, it's an incredible organization. Is doing the rescuing of children from sex traffickers and human trafficking, and they do it year round. But the Super Bowl was the worst time, so they do a special operation for the Super Bowl. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them and the incredible work that they do. So anyway, back to and thanks for that thing. Back to where we were. So you do your podcast show. How long have you been doing the podcast show from?
And in total, probably maybe just coming up on 3 years. It's hard to believe.
Wow.
You know, and then I want to give a shout out to Drinks with Dee Dee show, which I'm one of the regular guests on. That's another podcast done by Dee Dee Servino, Paul Servino's widow, and she's a auxiliary member of Post 43, and we're kind of a comedy podcast. We take an hour and we can either roast somebody, or we will be very brutally honest about films or whatever, and we have a blast doing it.
And it's funny that you bring that up, because one of the things of all the things Tommy does, if you follow him on Facebook, his sense of humor comes across nonstop. So the fact that he's doing comedy there, this is just some of the posts that he has there. It's just nonstop. I mean, that's the other piece of you, that you just have just an incredible sense of humor about life and about how to handle it. And it comes across on your Facebook page. So I'm not surprised you'd be doing a comedy show with Dee Dee Servino. I mean, it's just one more aspect of who you are, brother.
Right. And I got that from my dad, and my brother is the same way as I am. We both learned from my dad, and then which actually got into the point. I actually wrote a comedy script, which won best drama comedy at Cannes last December or November, and I thought, wow, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to try to put some comedy into situational comedy into an actual storyline, and now I'm hoping and I'm planning on actually filming it this summer. Once we get the funds in place, but I've got a great cast of people that want to be in it. I had no end of people saying, "Hey, I would like to be in your film," and I feel very blessed and honored. But Cindy Copeland, beautiful, amazing dramatic actress from Atlanta. Doug Little from LA, and Doug. I think BJ Lang's going to be in it as one of the comedy guys. Tammy Barnett, Michael Gillickson, who's a great stand-up comedian in LA and Dee Dee Servino, she's going to be in it. So we got some great people that want to be in it, and I've got a great special effects man who's also a vet. Our DP is great. I want to direct it because I know what I want from the actors, and I just feel that, yeah, this is what I want to do, So,
well, very cool, man. And that's just the other piece I want to get to too before we finish is that if you want to share this, I think you've been, pretty amazing model for transforming your health issues, and you just recently.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to talk about that, I would love to just. Because I think it's an inspiration for people who are being faced with issues, health issues, and what you went through and how you overcame. Because it's just one more example of what it takes when you're somebody who's willing to do whatever it takes to overcome.
Well, this 2023 was a bad year. I had November of 2022. I had some problems. We were filming Wild West Chronicles. It was a long set day, really long. We were actually on overtime, and so that how long of a day that is. Long. When you're on set and you get overtime. And I had been having trouble with my knee. I heard it on the fire department, and I had it was hurting really bad. I could hardly get home from the set. I went and saw the doctor, and he said, "You got to replace your knee." He said that it's you also had a tibia fracture, and he said what we have to do is we have to put a long rod down into your tibia so that it makes your tibia stable, but there's going to be a lot of complications, and we won't. And I was heavy. I put on so much weight over COVID, and I used that as an excuse as everybody else did. I was just freaking lazy. I was lazy. And it's easy to get complacent and lazy when you don't have a lot of stuff going on. I stopped running around. I kept my weight pretty well in check when we were busy because I was running all over the place doing stuff. I'd only have a small bite to eat here or there, but once we shut down, it was like, okay, how do I order more chips? But then Lydia had a real health issue that came up, and she almost died. I mean, literally was on death's door at the hospital, and a wonderful doctor at Kaiser, the head of surgery up at Kaiser Fontana, Dr. Jonah, like from the whale, saved her life. He took her over personally and saved her. But I figured, in my surgery, the doctor said, you got to lose at least 50 pounds before we can even consider doing the surgery. So, okay. I said, okay, I'm going to start to modify my eating and to lose the weight to have the surgery. And then when Lydia got so sick, I was taking care of her. Then it became all the more apparent that I have to take care of her, and I can't take care of her if I'm not well, And so I really got into it, and to make what I ended up doing is losing 90 pounds.
Wow.
Get back in the old size that I was on the fire department. I had the surgery. I feel great. Now I'm working out 3 times a week, and I'm like back at it. And you were kind of my inspiration for that too, because you went on this journey before COVID. Because I can remember you talking to me about it up at Camarillo. I think we were up there for the air show, and we were talking about that. And I think we're the same age, maybe a month apart in our birthday.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking, and I kept telling Lydia, if John can do this, I can do this.
Well,
So you were kind of my inspiration too.
Well, thank you. I went on a 7-day-a-week workout. I mean, I dropped 40.
I know you did.
I dropped 40. You dropped 80. But but it's impressive. But I think the lesson is, you turn your health around because you took the action, you made the decision, and that's
right.
That's the inspiration for people, because a lot of times people are not willing to do that, to do what it takes, even though it's going to serve them by doing it. So, good on you for having the, putting the right effort into it to turn your health around.
Well, it's nothing that happens overnight, and I'll tell people that you just have to, make up your mind. And I'll say the first month was probably the worst, because you get all your cravings, you get all that stuff. I want this, I want that. But then after that, you just adjust. You really adjust. Okay, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna eat this. I'm not gonna eat that. I'm not gonna go out for pizza. I'm not gonna do this unless I go to one place where we get a slice, and that's it. That's my dinner.
Right.
And so you just start doing that. You take control of your life. And I just my doctor, when I was had the surgery in December, he just comes in and goes, he says, you kind of are my success story, because most people just get to that point. I tell them to lose that, and that's where they stop. He said, you just kept going.
Right on.
And I said, I'm at this point. I'm not going to stop. I want to get my health back. I want to be able to do the stuff I used to do. And I also wanted to, and I even talked to my agent about this, I want to step up and do more stuff in film. And to do it, I got to be healthier. I can't be the big guy. I can't and do all this. And since then, I've had a bunch of auditions since the first of the year. Good ones. I had 2 callbacks. Nothing yet, but it's like I'm getting these auditions, so I'm doing something right, and I also am looking better.
Absolutely.
And I decided I'm going to try a different look. I grew a beard because I wanted to see what I would look like. I never had one before, and my brother.
You keep on trying new things, man. You keep on trying new things. So as we come to the end, Tommy, anything you would like to close with, any a message or any final thoughts, comments, whatever for people watching this?
The thing I'd like to say is always be willing to take that chance. Believe in yourself. Don't rely on somebody else to do it for you. We all know so many people that will give us a hand, but they're not going to give us a hand up. They'll give us the opportunity to do it, and you feel such a satisfaction by doing it yourself and accomplishing that part. So walk through that door, be afraid, but realize I'm in charge of my fear. When I think of some of the stuff I used to do in the fire department, I look back and go like, wow, I can't believe I did that. And somebody will say, wasn't it scary? So yeah, it was really scary, but you don't think about it. You're thinking about the end result, what you're doing. And just remember that. Be true to yourself, be honest, make friendships, not acquaintances. I just think my friendship base, and I consider so many people like you family, that we're all together in this journey on Earth. And I just want to do the best I can to help the people I can to do amazing things, and thank God for my opportunities that were given to me.
Well, thank you, Tommy. On that note, yes, we are family. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, and
Absolutely, bro.
I'm honored to know you, and I always enjoy everything you share in post. You inspire everyone, and the sense of humor about it too, because life is challenging at times, and sometimes more than others. But if we can laugh at it, we can laugh at ourselves, and we can have fun while we're going through whatever we're going through. I think that's the way to live life, and that's what you capture. So I really I'm honored, like I said, that we're in each other's lives.
I am as well, brother, and thank you so much. And you're very right about that. We have to be able to laugh at ourselves
100%.
because I'll do that all the time, going, "Well, you're an idiot," and I'll laugh.
Well, it's that ability. It's just it just puts things in perspective. When you think, yeah, I know everything, and when you laugh at yourself, it's like, yeah, right, bang, right on the head. Just
yeah, exactly.
And so it's a great way to go through life. So thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you. And to everybody out there, I hope today's show with Tommy inspired you with his adventurous life and all the things that he's done and continues to do. And we look forward to your movie coming out. So Tommy, thanks again. And I'm going to close out the show, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds great, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, you got it. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you haven't seen the other previous 63 podcasts with some of my amazing, courageous friends sharing their stories of overcoming all odds and going on to live powerful lives, you can check them out on YouTube, Live Courageously with John Duffy. And you can check out all the previous shows and join me every Sunday at 2 p.m. for future shows coming up with plenty more of my courageous friends, family, and everyone else in my life. So thank you, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.